got your hands up, all these systems have to come into play, but they amalgamate as one. So all the information is, if I'm standing here and I'm moving here, and my motion is here, so it's all here, this movement here, boom, and it moves, but all moves as one, but each one is all coring, all that comes to life. So it's all this process that happens before you actually throw something, but as you start to relate to it, your brain is amazing. You know, it's just like in nanoseconds, everything's there. But all these systems of readiness have to be there before you actually throw. So breaking it down simply, if Paul's standing here, and I'm back here, and I have to do this to come and hit him, I shouldn't throw it. Unless I want to use it, if I'm standing here and I throw it as a fake, and I'm going to come with something else. You know, like I designed a strategy for it. You just shouldn't throw it. You're wasting your time and you're wasting power. It's just not the right time to throw it. You know, throw something else. You know, where these legs come in, maybe I throw my legs so I can get in closer. You know, all the strategy. But it's not leaning. And when we get into the cross punching and the open hand fighting, that is really, really dangerous. You know? So if Paul's like standing here and I take over him and I come this way, this is how I just hit him. It went here, it scraped, and this part of my hand came in and hit. So this actually was here. This came in here and hit. I cornered in here, and when I came out, I pushed. But it isn't a push, it just all comes in, and then I could claw, I could grip, I could come into the eye sockets, not pulling eye sockets out, just like scraping them, making them bleed, you know, and you don't really want to do that anyway with all the diseases and stuff that's out there. You kind of don't want the person to bleed on you. You just kind of want it to end because, you know, God knows what that guy has or person has. So
can you explain a little bit how the rest of your body like kind of connects with that? As we're talking about the last class about straight. Well, yeah, like with all the cross punching and the open hand and stuff, how all the movement in the hand and the wrist happens, but really that you showed that part, but then how do you angle that in connection with like lining up the rest of your body?
That's up to you.
It's up, well, like for like an example, like one example.
All right, so if I'm going to come in, like say, with a palm strike from here, this is my first one. I already know, okay. So Paul's taking it, just so he's being a mannequin, he's just being very open about it, right? He's a very nice man, all right? So I want to hit him here, but I've already decided where I want to go. If he blocks it or defends against it, of course, instantly you have to be able to regroup, restructure a hit, work off of the hit. So say if I come into here, he blocks it, I'm also assuming he can block it, then I'm going to have another technique to come over it unless he's throwing something at that time and I'm forced to have to defend. And that's when you get into like what I was talking about, shadowing. Mm-hmm. So if I'm here and I'm coming in with that hit, I've already decided, Mr. Post, where I'm going. Okay. That's the first key. I have a destination, I know where I want to go. Which is a big, big problem with you guys. You just see something, you just want to hit it. You have no direction. You're not thinking this is where I want to go. So you're not really looking. Nobody ever really does. And they look so hard for openings. You know, it's like if he has his hands up and he's fighting, it's like, okay, these are these force fields that I have to work about going around. Who cares? These are trees. These are limbs that you're going to work off of. So I could come into here and my hit may come up here now. But for the sake of the demonstration, we'll just keep them down here, right? So I decided already this is where I'm going. So I already have that connection between me and you. You know, I just have to bridge that gap. I have to make that bridge and make that connection. So from here, I realize that I'm going to have to move my body this way to have that palm strike, right? So to come from here, I'm going to hit here. This is first where I'm going to hit. So my fingers come out first. So when you see it, it seems like one hit, but it moves this way, turns this way, hits this way, and comes out. All together, when I group everything, boom, it's moving here, 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 and back. So all hits coming from here. If I take this down, I feel this, where I could hit right here, right? So here, this is where, if I move in here, I could just boom, move that down, and I know he's going to throw up on me on that point. You know, it's like there's going to be trouble there, so I probably wouldn't do that.
Thank
right?
you.
Yeah.
On the receiving end of that, it feels like the motion is being initiated by your feet. And I think that's what James is asking. Are you pushing, pressing from your legs as you do?
No, I'm already set. So you have to understand that there's a connection between me and this person, right? We connect. Remember we talked about spirituality, that everything has a spirit to it. So fighting becomes different. That's what I talk about sparring. It's not about challenging. Because on the street you can't challenge. Yeah, there is no absolutes, there is only challenge. And that is a journey that's part of the way. But when you're on the street, it's not about challenging. You know, you're fighting for your life there. It's not a challenge anymore. It's like, it's an absolute. You gotta stop it, right? You know, it's not like I'm sparring or I'm boxing or this, and God forbid you use the wrong technique. You know, you could have a person, when I was talking about this fight I saw a long time ago in Harlem about this, I was watching this fight, and I forget who I was just having this conversation with, but I was watching this fight, and I was one of the only white guys, and so I was way in the back watching it, you know, and this guy gets out, he's a tall dude, he gets out, and he comes out with this technique like this here, right, and he's just trying something. The other guy was a much better fighter, much better technician, just, you know, outdid this guy in all ways, but because the guy never saw it before, he clocked him like 4 or 5 times in the head. People were making fun of the other guy because the technique was really off the wall. It was like, I don't know, it was like a screaming ostrich coming at you. I've never seen anything like it before. It was funny, but at the same time, if that guy would have met that man on the street, eventually he got his composure after like 2 or 3 times of this guy attacking him, hitting him in the head, and everybody in the audience laughing. I felt bad for the guy. He was just trying something, you know? But I'm saying to myself, man, if that guy met that guy on the street, that other guy, even though he was a better fighter, better technician, had better technique, stronger, tough guy, he would have got clobbered. You know what I mean? He wouldn't have come out of that. He would have just hit him a couple times and then he would have jumped on him and kept hitting him. But because it was in competition, you were able to recover for that. If he would have fought one of like mixed martial art guys today, it would have been a whole different ball game than what it was back then. So, you know, the proper technique is important. You know, and you have to, you know, each situation calls for a different type of action. You can't live in a fishbowl and say, I do Kung Fu, and you're great in your school, and you go out of your school, and you meet somebody, or you meet somebody on the street, nobody's ever seen Kung Fu in combat, you know, they're going to come at you with their bayonet, and they're going to do what they're going to do. You have to improvise, you have to make it up right there. And that's where that connection comes in. So, getting back to the roots of what we're trying to do here, and the exercise that you guys are trying to do when you're confronting each other, you've got to watch your leg movement, and everything, like you're saying, Joe, has to come together. But the key point is one, is simplifying it. Know where you're going to go, and how you're going to get there, and make sure you also know what part of your body, whether it's open hand technique or closed fist. Closed fist, you're not even hitting with the meat of the fist, you're hitting with different sections. So if I'm punching, I'm already saying I want to go, say, to this spot, I want to hit him here. And that has to happen. If it doesn't happen, then something else, of course, is going to occur, this body movement. But your hands and everything should be at least close to that. And when I hit here, I'm going to move down and come out in this direction. So if I'm coming in here, I'm going to hit here, I'm hitting here, I know I want to hit here. As I come down, my hand tightens up, and I'm coming back. So I'm coming back in that motion, that's a cross punch. So I'm not just coming in and out.
What was the tightening of the forearm? Just there, you did a tightening of the forearm?
Yeah. Well, that's all your down motion. Down motion is very good in combat jiu-jitsu, you know, because that's very important. But it all has to amalgamate with this. This has to be solid, you know, and you can't be overextending it to work. And it really does work. And then when you see it in action, you don't see it, you know, but like so when I'm throwing things, but you realize it's there, right? So you need to have a destination. And once you have that destination, you need to construct something. So if Paul is standing here and he's fighting me, and I'm standing here, we're practicing this drill. Now eventually we have to get into moving. You guys have to do it like we were trying to do outside, right? But here, if I have a destination, say I realize I want to hit him here. So if I want to hit him here, I have to already decide like what part of my hand wants to connect with that. And then the rest comes naturally. Now, I also, if I'm standing back here, I can't do this here, right? This cores down. This already lets me line up. Now, watch the back foot here. The back foot is going to come up. So I'm going to come up this way, not this way to lean. I'm coming up this way. This allows me to come in. So first I'm lining up here, it allows me to come in, and this is exactly where I want to hit. As I hit here, boom, I'm going to turn my hand, and then I'm going to hit here coming out. So the hit comes in all these different motions. Just boom. I'm not doing this, coring down and hitting. I'm not leaning. If
It's
you
more like
come with
a-
me,
it's like a
unless you're going
twist
into-
almost.
Yeah, if you're going into grappling, like we were talking about, or anything of that nature, it's all a matter of stopping. So if I'm standing here and then he comes in and he bum rushes me, right? He comes in, this is my first motion, it's here, this is your first technique, and then you start to get into your grappling, because he's gonna come down from my foot, I'm gonna try to stop that. If he comes up high, you know, the technique is in here, and this is where you start, this is when the game begins, right? And if he starts to come in and I start to move, this is where my big game, because as he's moving, why would I stand there? So as he's rushing in, I'm coming back, and this is where I'm just gonna just lay him out. Because both of those hands are coming right both into your eye sockets. You see what I'm saying? That's combat. In competition, it's competition, there's a difference. See? So it has to be here. You're rooting everything, but you can't be going past it out. And you have to have a destination. You have to know where you want to hit and how you're going to map out that hit. So if he's standing, right, and he's got some funky stance work, right, so he comes in here and he's got this here. So if I want to hit, I already know, like, where do I feel this hit that I want to come into. So I may want to hit here. This is so standard, you know, and where I'm going to come in. I want to hit here. This is where I want to hit, because this is where it's going to do some damage. And that hit is going to cover in this area. So somewhere in this area, but I've already decided I want to hit with a palm, right over to here. So now this hit is going to come from here. My motion is to move here, cover here, and my destination comes in here. So I'm hitting this way. As I hit here, it's not for a knockout. I want to hit to get this, and as he comes in here, my thumb is going to go into the eye and come out. So I almost, boom, is one, relax. It's one and then two, and it's coming out. So I'm scraping the eyelid, I'm scraping something, I'm giving him something to think about. Ow, he's distracted, and then I can go in if I want for the kill. And that's where you have destiny, but you have to map it out. It's not so standard as he was standing, come to how you were standing before. Like, I'm going to go here. He can defend so much here. This is an excellent, standard boxing technique. It's like, if I swing to hit him, then he's going to poosh, pop to hit me. I don't want that. I don't want to deal with that. So my hands are going to move. I may come in from this angle and come up from here and move. So my angle now came all open hands, and I jerked him into here, just so I could take this kick and wallop him in this way, see? But you have to have a destination. One destination will open up for the other. So when you move, and whenever I watch you guys spar with each other, it's like you're not thinking about where you're going, you're just sparring. And you don't have a destination. And you don't feel that destination when you're actually going to, like, what part do I want to connect with that part? Like, when I'm unleashing something. So me and Joe is here, and we're moving around. Joe, move around, right? We're moving around. When I see that shot, when he moved over here, can you go back to here? Go back over to here. He moved over to here. This fist is going to come this way here. So as he moved, I had that destination. He'd come over this way. Boom! I knew he was going to move right into it. So I see that as he plays into it. Boom! As this comes in, and then boom! And you could just like, and I know exactly what part of my body is going to connect with him. If it doesn't match it, you have to quickly change it. It's not just simply looking for shots, it's creating them. And it's knowing what is radiating, what you're going to hit, and all this coming in together. Not sparring. And sparring is great if you really did the art of sparring. People really did. That's why people never seem to move beyond it. And you watch people fight in tournaments and stuff like that, they're all just sparring. And and it's the tougher guy, the luckier guy, or the guy that's bigger, or the guy that takes more hits to the head. We've all seen fights where guys just getting whammed, and all of a sudden he just gets that one lucky punch, and the other guy goes down. It's just competition. It's fun. We watch. Ooh, why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? Ooh, he's getting money for this. But we're talking martial art. We're talking a spiritual way. It's completely different. So 2 things that you need to focus on in what you're doing. 1, it's not leaning forward. 2, it's having a destination, and whatever it takes to get there. So let's take Joe and Paul. Joe and Paul